What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with another J-drama soundtrack reaction, meaning this is an actual song, not a piece of score. And actually, I don't own the soundtrack CD to Rules of Famous Detective, as it's translated in English. It's a 2009 show starring Matsuda Shota, seen here, as well as Kashi Yu and some others. And yeah, it's a show that essentially is meta-comedy about the world of detective stories, more broadly in terms of using plot devices and story paradigms that you find in detective stories from novels and, going all the way back to classic detective series like Sherlock Holmes. But then even more narrowly, it's playing off of the conventions and the tendencies of J-drama detective series. It is quite funny. Shout out to Michaela, not only because she helped me get the song we're going to listen to, meaning I thought of this song and I was trying to remember the name, and so I went on one of the J-drama websites I use where they list the theme songs, and I found out what it was called, and I sought out the video, and I remembered I had actually seen this video years back when I first watched this show, and I had kind of bookmarked it. And in fact, on my old YouTube channel, the one that I ran for like a decade before I had to close it and open up this channel a few years ago, I actually had a playlist, not my own playlist, it was like a saved playlist of various videos of tracks and songs from J-drama, and the music video for this song was in there. But yeah, Michaela was able to take the video and record the video, and I then have ripped out the audio for it. But yeah, it's a tune that translates to fighting pose the poem or the song, which is to say it's fighting pose no uta. Now I think like uta specifically means song, but I've seen this song online translated as fighting pose poem. Nevertheless, the video is interesting. I may react to that at some point over on my Patreon, but to sum up, it shows people out in the world on a subway together or on like a train together or sitting together and so on, and then like it cuts to them with bruises and cuts on their faces as if they've been in a fight, even though when you see them in these public scenes, they're not fighting. So I'm not quite sure the point the song's trying to make. I don't speak fluent enough Japanese to know exactly what's happening here. One other point of interest before we listen: in the comments on the YouTube video for this song, there's a lot of people who say it reminds them exactly of the Police's Don't Stand So Close to Me. There's a melodic element which has a similar rhythm to the don't stand so, don't stand so, don't stand so close to me, but the speed is different. The rhythm here is slower, and the whole vibe and atmosphere of the song is very different from that tune. So I don't really hear the connection, but there's a bunch of people who commented, so I don't know, when you listen, maybe you'll hear the connection. Either way, let's give it a listen. This is by Baba Toshihide, an artist and slash singer I don't know much about outside of this tune, or I know next to nothing about outside of this tune. But yeah, it's called, as I said, Fighting Pose no Uta, which you can, I think, translate as either Fighting Pose the song or Fighting Pose poem. And once again, thank you to Michaela for sending me the recorded video of this so I could rip the audio out for listening purposes. It's like a moody alternative rock kind of track, like a J-rock tune with a bit of a melancholy to it. And as long as we're making comparisons that are just totally out of left field with the melody of this song, because again, in a very general way, I can hear the melodic sequence that apparently people are connecting to the melodic run in The Police's Don't Stand So Close to Me, but it's a tenuous connection at best. But as long as we're making tenuous melodic connections, part of like the beginning of every verse when he does that long kind of melancholy note to lead into the line, it actually reminds me of a tune from the Mega Man 2 for the NES soundtrack, the track for Heat Man stage. So yeah, you can check that out and see if you think that sounds any more like this than does The Police's Don't Stand So Close to Me. But I really do enjoy it. I think it's just a nice moody tune. And it's interesting, like, if I would guess, I would think this might be used as a theme song in a show that was a bit more serious and, you know, with complicated personal storylines and, you know, something where, like, maybe there was a bit of mystery in a more serious manner. So it is funny to me that this track, which again kind of has this moody, melancholic vibe, is the theme song for a show that's very cheeky and, you know, meta with its comedy, almost, you know, making fun of other detective stories, or at the very least making light of the conventions in detective series. Nevertheless, I do enjoy the show. Once again, big shout out to Michaela for helping me get this tune into audio form to react to. And yeah, at some point I will, over on my Patreon, react to the music video because, like I said, it's visually interesting. It's definitely making a point, or like a hypothetical statement about humans and, you know, the way we have conflicts and, you know, physical fights and so on, though I don't quite know what the point is. So in any case, let me know what you think, and I will see you next time. Peace.